What to do if you've been laid off. I'm Kendall, that career coach, and I help you navigate your career and play this secret corporate game in order to get success and find progression. Today, we are reviewing what to do when you get laid off, starting with a Reddit article where we're going to read what the public talks about. I will chime in on my thoughts and share some of my own first steps afterwards. So, the first comment on this Reddit article says if you're in the US, for unemployment benefits right away. So this is absolutely true. A lot of the time your company will give you some amount of COBRA. There's also some unemployment benefits that are specific to individual companies like coaching or resume services. We want to make sure that we get those as fast as possible. Second thing is, as soon as I got home the day I was laid off, I was connected with every professional contact I could think of. Previous colleague who may have offered me a job, and it was a pretty hefty pay cut, but it was enough to pay the bills until other opportunities in the near future. Update your LinkedIn profile immediately if it isn't, and set your status to open to work, visible to recruiters only. I do agree with this. Your network is going to be the number one thing that helps you find a job, especially if you've been laid off. We want to make sure that we are reaching out to people who we used to work with, who are at new companies, or friends of friends, or individuals who we may know through the grapevine, consultants we've worked with, etc., to open doors for new opportunities. Forbes did an article at the end of 2024 where they talked about how like 38% of jobs are filled by referrals alone. So you want to make sure that your network is in place because you're going to need that, especially in the 2025 job market. They are going to need to start flagging opportunities for you. Referencing you as a referral, it's going to increase your chances of getting an interview. Something big that's happening in the job market right now is we're seeing a lot of AI application tools. So you load your resume, they take it and they apply to thousands of jobs every day. The issue is that means that companies are getting more and more applications and they're having to sort through to try to figure out who's AI and who's not. And so if you have a referral, that's going to help you immensely in getting to the front of that line. Additionally, with that, changing your LinkedIn profile to open to work, visible to recruiters only is big. Do not put the green banner on your picture. Don't do it. It screams of desperation. I'm sorry. Okay. It also is going to indicate very quickly that you are laid off because that tends to be very common there. And what we don't want to happen is you don't get a job or a job opportunity because they're thinking, oh, what if something's wrong? They've been unemployed, etc. Something I would add to this is be prepared for when you're in an interview that you know how you're going to answer the question of why you're looking for a new job. We don't just want to go in and be like, I was laid off and your job was hiring. That's a bad answer. So go in and say, hey, I learned a lot of good things at my previous role. I was able to do X, Y, and Z. In my next role, I'm really looking for something where I'm able to do this. Unfortunately, I was part of a layoff that affected my previous employer, which has sped up my desire to get into that next role. But I think this job is a great fit because of these reasons. Don't just say you were laid off. Be prepared to talk about the rest. The next comment on here says, embrace doing free stuff. Get outside, volunteer, which can be great networking, do something you haven't had the time to do, exercise. I totally agree with this. You need to have interests outside of just finding a job. Don't sit around all day, couch potato and depression, eating ice cream out of the tub and hoping that we get a job because that's really not going to be good for your mental health. We want to make sure we're getting out, we're in the community, we're doing all of these things. It's also okay to take a 2 to 4 week break in between being laid off and looking for your next job. I find that can be really healthy for you mentally to have that bit of separation and not feel like, oh, I got laid off. I have to find a job. I have to start interviewing right away. And then some of that anxiety like trickles into your interview process. Instead, take the time to like take a step back. With this, they go on to say there's this concept in psychology where you're supposed to close the loop on big emotions, like take that time to process it. I do agree with this. This is part of why I think taking that time can be really great, but also you need to like give yourself some grace. A lot of the time, layoffs are not personal. I know they feel personal, but a lot of the time they're not. They're just a numbers game. I recently had a client who was laid off. It was a really negative situation. Like the person laying them off cried in the layoff. It was really emotional. That individual turned around and got a job for $100,000 more. You'll be okay. Just like give yourself some grace and some time to process it. This person gave a very bulleted list. I dig that. Take 72 hours to feel. Yes. Surround yourself with loved ones, call some family, catch up, apply for unemployment, rewrite your resume, 90 minutes a day to job hunt, stay off of fear-mongering news and websites. College educated unemployment rate is less than 3%, so odds are you'll find something, and most people end up glad that they got laid off and make more money. I agree with all of these. These are all great things. Again, I would probably take more than 72 hours just to like process your feels and not step into a bad situation. And I would add networking to this. But I think that's a great summarized list. When you do get laid off, it's very easy to feel down in the dumps and like be really negative on yourself. But I've worked with tons of clients who have been laid off, and every single time they're like, I'm so glad that happened. Just give it a year and you'll be like, oh, I hated that job and I didn't even notice it. You'll be good. Don't let pride prevent you from taking advantage of programs that will help while you are unemployed. Yes, do it. Practice interviewing and brush up on your resume. So, practice interviewing is a big one. Companies will generally not give you feedback on your interview. They will just say, like, oh, hey, we really liked you, but you didn't get the job, or hey, we had an internal candidate in mind. Unfortunately, the role's going to them, etc. It can be really helpful to do a mock interview, whether that is with your significant other, that's with a family member, that's with a coach. Like, do a mock interview where you can get actual feedback on, like, hey, how did I answer that question? Man, that felt really uncomfortable. You could go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 15 questions that a hiring manager would ask based on this job description. Start practicing. If your first interview in 10 years is that first interview that you have, it's probably not going to go well. So get ahead of that. Get some practice. Get comfy. Okay. So that by the time you go into that interview, you feel more prepared. This is something that I do a lot, is a lot of practice interviews, and it really does help. You are free to move on to the next phase of your life. If you've been thinking about doing something else, then this sign is your sign to do it. The first time I was laid off, I went to college. The second time, I got a job more in line with my college degree. The third time, I retired early. So you'll find something. I think this goes back to a lot of the time people are actually really relieved when they get laid off after the fact. I know in the moment it's really hard, but a lot of the time it's the push that we need that kind of helps us get that next step. It can also be a great time to make a career pivot, to start a business, to do something you're really passionate about. A lot of people I know end up starting like a consultancy business during their layoff period, where they get more exposure to more companies, more types of projects. They build up their skill set. It's a great time to take a training, get a certification. There are lots of free certs out there, especially for things like AI, if that's an area that interests you. But making sure that you are using your time wisely is going to be really key. Hopefully, you guys found this helpful. If you're looking for other great career advice, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and leave your questions below. Otherwise, tune back in next week for more helpful tips.